Miami just, a little briefing right here. Darian Mintz is obviously a huge pickup. They've done really well in the portal. They just went to the national championship. They've kind of proved all the doubters wrong, including me. And this schedule sets up really nice for them, because I'm a person that will shit on the ACC because I think it's fair. There's some names on this list of the schedule that they have. There's some names when you look at the teams, but like those teams aren't really known to be good, but there's some names. So it has like an interesting storyline to it, but that's about it. Let's pull up the schedule. All right, week 1, they go to Stanford. Now, another interesting about Miami's schedule is they don't play a game on Saturday until week 4, which is nuts. But they go to Stanford in week 1 on a Friday night. Second time they've ever played. Last year they played in Miami, one of those god-awful camo whatever jerseys. Those were hideous. But Miami smoked them. Two schools that couldn't be more dissimilar, more disalike. I'm terrible with vocabulary, but Miami should win this game on the road in Stanford, though. So who knows? Week 2, they got Florida A&M. Got to play your in-state rivals. Should win that one as well. Week 3, they go to Wake Forest on a Friday night. Just the 13th matchup ever between Wake Forest and Miami. Wake Forest has not beat Miami since 1944. So, that's a staggering statistic. And if I had to put money on it right now, I don't think they're going to win. But Wake Forest did have a okay season last year, so you don't want to overlook them. But that's also the biggest game they've got in those first 4. So, I don't think they will. They'll be somewhere close to home, somewhat close to home. Not like last year when they didn't leave the state of Florida till like November. They definitely are losing the state of Florida multiple times early in the season. And in week 4, they got Central Michigan. It's their first Saturday game. They played once in 2019. Miami won that game, obviously. And in week 5, they play Clemson on the road at Clemson. First time since 2023 these two teams are playing. Fun stat, they're both tied. It's 7-7 series. So Miami's won 7 times. Clemson's won 7 times. Could Dabo pull off this upset? Could Dabo Swinney pull off this upset over Miami? Would it be that far-fetched to think? I mean, it's at home. It's in Clemson. I always thought Clemson was a different city, but it's Clemson, South Carolina. That'd be bad if you're Miami and if you're not past that first stretch before you get to this bye week the next week and you've lost a game. Ooh, don't want to be there. I know you snuck in there at 10-2 last year. I don't think you need to be thinking that you can lose one of those first 5 games. And then week 6, they got a bye week. Week 7, they play Florida State. Miami obviously has won the last 2. Who hasn't won the last 2 games against Florida State they've played? I mean, if you have lost one of the last 2 games you've played against Florida State, it's brutal. Bye week is big. They get a bye week before this after going to Clemson, getting play back home in Miami. Is SSU going to be decent? Is Florida State going to be decent? Who knows? You can really put money on that. I know. Think about last year, everybody coming into last year, they would beat Bama. It was like, oh, FSU's back, and then they weren't back. So it's hard to gauge what you think Florida State will be. They got Ashton Daniels, the quarterback from Auburn, who was also at Stanford before that, coming to play. Gus Malzahn is no longer there, so Mike Norvell's calling the plays. They really don't want him there. They just can't fire him, yada, yada, yada. Again, names. Clemson, Florida State, those are names. But Miami should not lose to either one of them. Pitt, they got Pitt in week 8. Miami won in Pitt last year on the last week of the season in the cold. So, how serious are we taking Pitt at this point? Is this a must-win game? Everybody remembers their coach last year saying that their Notre Dame game wasn't a must-win. Who knows if this Miami game will be a must-win at this point. But in all seriousness, if Miami is rolling, if Miami's undefeated, this could be, a bit of a sleeper game. Maybe you're looking ahead to whatever you've got on the schedule, Notre Dame in a couple weeks. But I just don't know how to seriously take Pittsburgh right now. They're not like a college football staple or anything like that. So it's just a little difficult. It's a little difficult for me. All right, week 8, they've got at week 9, they go to North Carolina. Another name, Bill Belichick. First time they're playing since 2023. UNC has actually beat Miami 5 straight times. Could this be Bill Belichick's big win? Could this be the one that Bill Belichick gets to, he's got a top 10 Miami team coming into town. His North Carolina Tar Heels are sitting at 5-3, 4-4, and they just beat Miami. right before Miami has to play Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That'd be something, wouldn't it? Bill Belichick got his statement win against Miami, just like how the New England Patriots used to beat Miami Dolphins all the time. That'd be something to keep your eye on. And then week 10, they go to Notre Dame. I've talked about this game, probably going to be one of the games of the year. Catholics versus convicts, the whole thing. Back-to-back road games for Miami, which is tough to go to North Carolina and go home and go all the way back up to South Bend, Indiana. Both teams, though, realistically should be undefeated at this point. I know I keep asking, can Miami lose one of these games? They realistically shouldn't. They're probably better and going to be favored by, at the very little 6 to 7 points on each of these games. And they'll go to Notre Dame and probably be not favored for the first time, if I had to guess. These teams should both be undefeated when this game happens. If one of these teams is not undefeated, it's going to be it's going to be a must-win for them. But I'm gonna you can't really assume much, and it's March. But Miami should be undefeated when they play this game against Notre Dame. And then they play Duke at home in Week 11, playing their old head coach Manny Diaz, defending ACC champion Manny Diaz, and also Darian Mensah revenge game. His old school, Duke. They just plucked Darian Mensah out of Duke, and now Duke's coming in, and the Duke's got their old head coach that they fired back in the day. Man, how that's going to be cinema, huh? Let's say Miami just beat Notre Dame. Is this the sleeper spot? Manny Diaz coming for it all. Duke, any teammates that are still left that play with Darian Mensah coming for his throat. That's something to think about. Week 12, they got Virginia Tech. Miami's won 5 straight games against Virginia Tech. This is the James Franklin era, though, of Virginia Tech. What's Virginia Tech going to be like this year? That's something we'll have to talk about eventually. But, if you look at this schedule, again, realistically, Miami's going to be favored in every game they play except for Notre Dame. Virginia Tech and James Franklin find some life in the ACC and are able to get rolling. This could be an interesting late season matchup that we're not really talking about right now. But when we get to late October, early November, we're going to go Week 12, Virginia Tech goes to Miami, and the winner gets first place in the ACC stand. Something to think about. And then they finish off the season with Boston College at home. So 3 straight home games in the season. That's huge for them, especially that time of the year. First time playing Miami since 2011 for Boston College, which is wild. They've been in the ACC for a pretty long time, I believe since 2005 or something like that. But these two teams don't play a lot for ACC. Or no, first time they're playing in Miami since 2011. So Miami's played Boston College a couple times in Boston. Or wherever Boston College is. Miami is first time they're playing in Miami since 2011. I believe they've only played like twice since then. So this should be a good finish to the season for Miami. I hate that there's schools like Miami that don't have end of season rivals, like a Georgia Tech or a Florida State or a South Carolina Clemson. Why aren't those a thing? Why does Miami not have I don't know. But it's different. It's different every year. They play a different team at the end of the season. Those teams that play different teams at the end of the season every year, that blows my mind. You don't even have a real rivalry week. Anyway,